Good morning. Um, this is Jenn Hall, Jenn and Kanata. I just wanted to share with you some money saving tips that can help you save money, whether you cook with Epicure products or use their cookware or don't do anything like that. One thing I always do is shop the sales. So, a few weeks ago, well, probably about a month ago, cabbage was on sale. So I froze half the cabbage. And I used half the cabbage. Cabbage is one of the newest trending vegetables for 2023, according to a bunch of marketing execs and stuff like that. It is going to be the new cauliflower. You will be seeing recipes all over the net and stuff like that using cabbage. Why? It's a very filling vegetable. It has lots of vitamins and stuff. It is cheap. Price it's usually about, you know, like under $1 a pound, and a whole head of cabbage is usually a couple pounds. So you're paying, but this is a great veggie filler to stretch your protein, to stretch your meal, whatever you're making. So today I am making the carne asada, but instead of using stewed beef and peppers, I am going to be using ground pork and cabbage. Why? Ground pork is cheaper. So this is one of like 6 bags that I made of the ground pork. It was a 3 kilogram chub, so that's like 6 pounds, and I put them into 6 bags. So this is going to feed my family for supper. I'm going to pan fry this mixed with the seasoning. Get kind of brown. It doesn't need oil because its ground pork has a bit more oil, like more fat in it. I'm going to chop up some cabbage and onion. I don't know if I'll use the whole half of the cabbage, maybe half of a half cabbage. I'll see how much it is in the bowl because it'll fill it up, and I'm going to serve it with rice, or you can have it with noodles or udon noodles or ramen or whatever. But the flavor profile, so carne asada is like a Mexican flavor stew. When I was pouring the spice, as you say, I already have the other in the pan, ground pork in the pan. When I was pouring the spice on the thing, I'm like, oh, it's going to smell spicy. I've tasted it before as it was supposed to be prepared, and it was good. It had a little bit of kick, but it is not spicy. For anybody who loves spice like I do, it is not spicy. I would say it's mild, like a mild Mexican kind of beef stew. I'm going to be making it with pork, so it's going to be a Mexican style ground pork stew that's going to be served on rice. So, another thing that I wanted to share with you about saving money and stuff is when items are on sale, like onions, okay? I rarely use onions raw. Maybe in a week, maybe half an onion raw in a salad or on like avocado toast. My daughter likes making avocado toast on rye bread, avocado sprinkling our guacamole seasoning just on top, or our everything bagel seasoning on top. Thinly slice some purple onions and a balsamic vinaigrette drizzle on top. I get that at Costco, but you can make it yourself. Another way to save money is to make things yourself if you can. Buy the balsamic vinegar from Food Basics for like $3. Reduce it down with some sugar, and you've got a balsamic reduction. But you got to kind of cost out time and money. So if you have the time, you could do all these things to save money. If you don't have the time, you have to think of where you can save money and where you're going to spend your money. You spend your money wisely in things that gives you more value, saves you time, saves you, gives you more flavor on things. Like I spend money on hot sauce. I can make my own hot sauce, yes, and I do make my own hot sauce, but I never seem to make enough to last my family. I can make my own salsa. I never seem to make enough to last my family. But things like our pico picante can make fresh salsa anytime in minutes using using a cup of diced tomatoes or using canned tomatoes, a cup of it, and 2 tablespoons of mix and cilantro and lime juice if optional. Like the cilantro is optional. When you do it with 2 tablespoons and 1 cup of tomatoes, that makes a medium to medium spiced salsa. I always say to do 1 tablespoon and 1 cup just to try out and also let it sit. The longer it sits, the more spicy it is. So if you make a bigger batch and you only use some today and it's like a perfect spice for you today, tomorrow it might be too spicy because the chili peppers and stuff just marinate in there. So you can always add more spice. You can't really take away spice. So I always say use 1 tablespoon and 1 cup, or use 2 tablespoons with 2 cups. Basically 2 tablespoons if you're going to use a can of tomatoes, which is about 700 milliliters, I think. 650, 700. I do that just to be on the safe side, and then I let it sit, taste it, ask my family members what they think, add some more. And it's simple. But this, how much is a can of tomatoes? $1.50 these days. I used to be able to get it for 79 cents. I'm crying because I can't get it for under $1 these days. $1.50, maximum $2. I never spend $2. Better yet, this summer, plant your tomatoes, plant a whole bunch of tomatoes, and can them yourself. Even cheaper because it only costs as your time and it costs the cost of the seeds or if you buy plants. That's what I do. But literally, canned tomatoes, $1.50, 2 tablespoons of this seasoning. This is 109 grams. So how much is that in there? There's probably at least 10, 15 cups of salsa you can make with this. So for the price, the cost of this would be like $1 on top of the $1.50, so $2.50 maybe, and you've got more salsa than you would buying the Tostitos jar of salsa, which is like $4 these days. I can't get it under $4. On a rare occasion, $3.50, but no. Drink some water. Another thing to save money: drink more water instead of pop. I do drink diet pop, but I've been trying to drink a lot more water. Add lemon or lime to it. It gives it some flavor. It's cheap. You can buy, that's another thing, buy lemon and limes when they're marked down. You use some, slice them up, freeze them. They will come out, you can juice them, like cut some in half, so that you can juice like half a lemon, cut them in slices as you would in other things to squeeze a bit of lemon, pop it into the water bottle, let it sit there, marinate, whatever, But that's what I do. Whenever I'm at the store, I always check the markdown bins of the meat, the markdown bins of the breads, and the markdown bins of the fruits and vegetables. Because even if there's, say, one bad fruit or banged up part of a fruit, you can cut that part off and chop the rest. You can freeze it. Great for making smoothies, great veggies. You can chop them up, freeze them. I chop up onions all the time when they're on sale. I'll buy a big bag of onions, chop the whole thing up, put them into like Ziploc bags like this in like 1 cup forms, or put them into the muffin tin. Where's my muffin tin? Is it still here? Yeah, it's still here from. So put it in the muffin tin and freeze it like that. So you have pucks, and then pop them out and put them in the Ziploc bag. So you have like half a cup of onions. Because I don't know about you, sometimes you get big onions, and sometimes you get little onions. So when a recipe calls for 1 diced onion, it's like, well, what size is that? So I always think one onion's about half a cup, and you know, do it. Actually, I like more onions in my things because we like onions and garlic and peppers. We're big, bold flavors, but if you don't like them, you don't have to use as much. And that's one thing with the recipes with Epicure is that the recipes here call for it just called for stewing beef, green peppers, 4 cups of green peppers, and a tablespoon of oil, and then to cook it up and serve it with rice, tortillas, or mashed potatoes as desired. So, but I'm changing it up, right? I'm going to use a different protein. I'm going to use different vegetables. I'm still going to use it with rice. Um, I'm not going to add the oil because I don't need to because the ground pork has more oil in it than ground beef or beef stewing beef, and uh, we're going to have that for supper for those who are wanting it. Those who don't want it, we have leftovers from other meals that I have portioned up into the fridge and the freezer that they can have instead because not everybody in my family wants necessarily the same thing for lunch and supper. I make one meal, and if they um, if they don't want it, or if it's not their flavor profile, or they're not feeling well, like right now, I have a family members that are not feeling well. So this might not be for them, but I have the ham bean soup um, in the um, instant pot. I just put it back on there. I froze it and I put it back on there to heat up so it's ready for lunch. Also, I have cooked chicken into the fridge that we can make. I was going to make some chicken noodle soup for those who don't want the ham bean soup because the ham bean soup is not spicy. It just has um, the Greek seasoning, the garlic seasoning, and um, what else? Oh, and the nourish broth to add to extra flavor. But just wanted to come in and pop in and talk about this. Take it, freeze it. If you have a vacuum sealer, vacuum seal it. It stays fresher. It stays frozen longer, better. Doesn't get freezer burn. But even if it did with vegetables, it doesn't really matter because you're going to be cooking it anyways. And the ones that look kind of like more shriveled or wrinkly, throw into the freezer because you're just going to cook it and put in a stew anyways. It'll rehydrate. It'll be fine. Same with like ground meat. Get ground pork and get ground beef. Mix them together. That's what I'm going to be doing. I bought some yesterday. I'm going to mix them together and then put them into baggies. So I have 3 kilograms of lean ground beef and 3 kilograms of lean ground pork. Going to mix them together to make a lean ground beef pork mixture because the ground beef was $4.97 a pound, and the ground pork was $3.17 a pound. So it's bringing down my price per pound meals, and I feed my family about a pound, maybe a pound and a half of ground meat in any given meal. Um, so if you think about that, I'm feeding my family for $3 to $5 of protein max, and my buy price is any meat under $4 a pound. I'm buying it like I'm buying a shitload of it. I'm buying a whole bunch of. If it's under $5 a pound, that's my everyday price these days because everything has gone up. I can if I can find any meat under $2 a pound anymore, I am buying that like hot tomato. So have a great day. Comment below what type of items do you save money on, that you buy extras when they are on sale, and how do you prepare them and save them so that you can have them in the future when those items aren't on sale anymore. Have a great day. Bye.